how would you regulate garage biology? There are machines, DNA synthesizers, that they can create DNA chains to specification of particular lengths. They vary, these machines vary in size from microwave to refrigerator. They can cost under $10,000 used to well over $100,000 for the latest and best. As of the most recent report I read, there were more than 20 manufacturers of these machines worldwide. There is an alternative, a DNA synthesis chip technology, that is also an effective way of synthesizing long chains of DNA. That has the virtue, from the point of view of control, that you can't use it to, you have to specify exactly what chains you want to manufacture in the chip, because the chip will be laid out, the chip will only allow you to make particular sequence, the particular sequence specified in the chip. So we can go to the chip makers and say, don't sell any chips that make this particular sequence because we have reason to believe, well, it's the polio virus, for example. Don't sell that, don't make it. Polo, my research assistant, I said, go on eBay. You did, and as of Monday, you could buy a DNA synthesizer for $8,900 US. The shipping to England would probably cost more than $110. But my guess is for around $9,000, you can probably equip yourself with a nice DNA, RNA oligosynthesis. So garage biology, if it's not here, there's every reason to think it could be here. It's been suggested that a way of dealing with the capacity to synthesize DNA is you might want to try to control the sale or use of these machines. So one would be to have registration. You'd have to, the sellers would have, the manufacturers would have to register, each machine would go out with a registration number. You would have to license, you could license the users, purchasers and users. And how would you control that? Well, you could try to control some of the choke points. So for at least certain nasty things that you might want to make, you'll need specialized raw materials, and you could require certain kinds of certification for each ship those raw materials. Machines wear out. These are delicate devices. You'll need capillary tube assemblies, so maybe you could constrain the sale and availability of those. You could do something with the specialists who are required to service these machines to keep them running. Those are all potential choice points. I have to say there's not a lot of confidence that any combination of these are viable or reasonable. They have a great deal of potential to constrain biological research, not a whole lot of potential to constrain the misuse of DNA synthesis. And an additional challenge will be international harmonization. This is not a UK-based world or a US-based world. This is international. It will only become more so. So, regulation, just as self-governance doesn't look as promising as we like it to look, government regulation will itself experience many challenges. Now, I'm no expert on the precautionary principle. There are scholars who are doing excellent work on this idea. And there are many variations of it. We actually have a proposal in NIH right now to try to look at the conceptual and ethical presuppositions built into the various ideas underlying the precautionary principle. That proposal went in Monday, so we won't know the result for a while. So I'm giving a very kind of crude translation of the precautionary principle as when in doubt, pause. If you don't know that something's safe, as for example, GMOs are regulated in the UK, you have to actually show it's safe before you can proceed. The precautionary principle has had far more traction in Europe than it has had in the US. I'm open to any ideas you have about why that might be so. What's been dubbed the proactionary principle, also crudely translated, is when in doubt, go ahead. That seems much more attractive to scientists generally, and it certainly seems to have more traction in the US. Now, it's susceptible to a number of forms of abuse, one of which I've had firsthand experience. The tobacco industry, as now we know, for decades, knew about the harmful effects of these products. but continue to produce them and continue to produce the occasional expert who would claim that the evidence is not solid yet, that there's still a scientific controversy. It's been a long time. Maybe 15, 20 years ago, I was recruited by attorneys working for the attorneys general of a number of the states in the U.S. They had gathered together to sue the tobacco industry, to get the industry to acknowledge that its product was in fact causing human disease. It's hard to believe, right? We're not talking 50 years ago, we're talking 15 years ago. And they needed an expert witness to talk about ethics and science. So I agreed to do it. In the course of my work, I read thousands upon thousands of pages of tobacco industry documents. And some really stood out. And one that stood out and has now become infamous was where a lawyer for the tobacco company said, our product is out. And they had very sophisticated strategies for recruiting scientists. They often were quite devious about recruiting scientists. They would basically not tell you who. They would have a cutout to contact the scientists, not so they didn't know it was the tobacco industry. This actually happened to me. I just remember the story. So when I was at the medical school in Cleveland, I had a local lawyer call me up and wanting to come meet with me. So I said, we're congenial. So she said, sure, come and talk to me. And she said, well, my client is badly misunderstood. And I said, well, I don't know who your client is, but you can come talk to me. So she came to my office and she brought it turned out to be two very senior attorneys from a law firm whose client I will review in a moment. They talked to me for 30 minutes about how you understand risk, etc. And then they told me who their client was, R.J. Reynolds. And I thought for a moment, and I said, I thought only paused for a moment because I was a little stunned by the request. And I also had the image of this house we'd always wanted to own in Cape Cod. But then I said, I can't work for your client. And they immediately went into attack mode with me. About 45 minutes more, they went after me. They tried every possible line of attack they could come up with at the moment. So 6 months or so later, it was the other side that contacted me and asked if I would be an expert witness on behalf of the attorneys general against the industry. I agreed to that. To the point where we established the principle that the industry was now admitting that the products were dangerous. And at that point, I backed out of it. I tell you, if you've ever been an expert witness, it's absolutely exhausting and consuming. I spent 9 or 10 days being deposed by industry lawyers, as many as half a dozen at a time. That's you spending an entire day basically fielding hostile questions. I felt the metaphor I could come up with was that imagine an ice hockey goalie, except without any equipment. You're just standing in front of the net, and with no teammates, and basically the other team's out there smacking the puck as hard as they can, and your job is not to get killed. Apparently I survived. The industry did ultimately suffer in that case, and acknowledged responsibility. But they manufacture doubt. And you see it again, right? You see it in debates over climate change. The industries that have an interest in being able to continue to produce huge amounts of carbon in the atmosphere and do other things will get their own experts who will tell you that, well, there's still a controversy with this. So anytime you have a situation where the manufacture of doubt serves the interest of a particular party, you should know that that affects the application of the precautionary